You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secured. Extraction complete. Intelligence system analytic computer is activated. All ISAC systems are confirmed online. Data scanned. Downloading files.
What's up, guys? You listen to episode 118 of SITREP Radio, giving you the news and other happenings in the world of The Division. This week, we're going over competitive gaming in The Division 2, but first, my name is Mike, and joining me as always are my co-hosts, Robert.
Hello.
And Luke.
Hello.
Hope you guys and our listeners have had a great week, and welcome to any new listeners of the show.
Can I give a quick thank you before we get into this for anybody who has headed over to Patreon and given us their support after last week's show? It's very much appreciated by all three of us, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you haven't yet and want to support us in any shape or form, head over to patreon.com/SITREP Radio. We are working on some stuff that we're going to be doing in Gamescom in a couple of weeks. So that will be obviously live to the Patreon members first, if not exclusively for them. We'll also be posting weekly updates from behind the scenes of the show and stuff. So,
thank you very much. So, Rob, I believe there's a decent Humble Bundle going on this week.
There is. Ubisoft are doing like a deal this week. You can get cheap-ass fucking deals on literally every Ubisoft title.
Yeah, I think the Division Gold Edition on PC is about £15 at the minute, or the base game is just £8, obviously, after our discussion last week.
£15 for the Gold Edition?
Yeah.
Mate.
Which includes the Season
That
Pass.
is
So after our discussion last week, definitely worth picking up.
Cheap as chips,
And-
That
as
is
Butcherish
fucking
like to say.
thousands of hours of content right there for 15 quid.
Yeah, I mean, we might even need to do it because, like, Rob's over here getting all the free games, you know, like Assassin's Creed,
We should probably
Origins.
buy a couple of codes just to give away, dude.
Well, with all the money you've saved, yeah.
What money?
The money from, like, Wildlands, Assassin's Creed Origins.
You know, the money you're saving on cheap t-shirt deals.
Oh, the money I wouldn't have spent anyway because there's got games for free.
The sweet t-shirt you bought.
Oh, fuck off.
That's a pre-show joke, I guess. Anyway, let's get down to some news. There is no State of the Game this week. However, just a very quick recap on GE Assault that is currently running at the minute. The Assault modifier revolves around taking more or less damage over long to short ranges. And the positive modifier gives you strong damage buff when you're close to NPCs. The sets available during this GE is Classified Sentry, Classified Strikers, and Classified Reclaimer. Are you boys still chasing any of those sets?
I really need Sentry knee pads still.
We've not got them yet.
No.
I think I
Try
need
harder, dude.
gloves. That's all I need.
Did you just tell me to
What?
try harder?
Yeah, I did.
Fuck you, dude. Asshole.
And something that we've been doing this week, we'll talk about in a minute, but there's the pig mask, the clown mask, and the Jason mask.
Damn pig mask.
Yeah, I'm not even happy about that.
Oh, no, it's the clown mask, isn't it?
Clown
Oh, clown mask, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, anyway, guys, what have we been up to this week? Luke, I'll go over to you first, dude.
Just told you. Trying to get Sentry knee pads in the clown mask.
Well, apart from that.
Oh, man. Yeah, pretty much that. We played some Underground, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Fuck you, Rob. Mr.
What?
Oh,
What?
how many fucking
Why
shields
is
have
there
you
so
got
much
last week's
hatred towards me this week?
You deserve it.
What have I done, dude?
You bought a t-shirt with a picture of Naked Frost on it.
I did not buy a picture with Naked Frost on it.
I just love the fact you look so fucking confused right now.
I don't understand where all the hate's coming from.
There's no hate, dude. We love you, man.
Disagree.
Yeah, I
If you
disagree
love
too.
Rob. Yeah. I was gonna say, if you want to send Rob either some hate mail or a love letter, please send it over to sitrep.radiopod@gmail.com.
Dick pics.
Send them to SITREP Radio Rob at Twitter.
Yeah, if you do send dick pics, please under subject put Rob's name so I don't open them.
Guarantee you every email now's got your name on it instead, Mike.
Yeah, probably. No, my luck.
Oh dear.
Or put Boris's name instead.
Definitely wouldn't open that one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Rob went and freaking called me out last week on basically not doing any shields, and I completed my underground shield on PC, so I'm pretty happy with that because it wasn't retroactive because I hadn't played that much underground on PC. Obviously, we played on consoles, switched over, and a lot of the shields weren't retroactive for me. So,
what other shields have you done, Mike?
I did the first one. I can't remember what the other ones are. The first
one doesn't count because that just means unlocking your boot. So,
well, at least I got that far. I did the fourth one, and I'm working on the second and third one at the minute. About halfway through the second.
We
were
were in the dark zone for a little bit last night, weren't we? Ticking off landmarks.
Yes, we were.
So.
Yeah,
and
so
I got my elusive Predator's Mark holster last night from the dark zone.
Oh, nice.
So I finished that. I just can't finish Sentry, which the G is all about.
Well, it might be the next meta, so it might be handy getting it.
Yeah, true.
Once they kill Striker, or just remove shotguns from the frickin' stacks.
If we're talking about that, I don't think they will remove shotguns. I think they'll do something else. Because if they remove shotguns, it fixes it for console, but not for PC. Because most people on PC are using M4s, aren't they, with Striker, and just stacking as quickly, if not quicker. So I don't know what the answer is on that, to be honest.
I still don't understand why we have a DPS build that heals, but you have to stack into health, so you basically get huge return on investment for heals.
I just don't think
there is one simple answer.
Go on.
Reducing the amount of stacks you get per hit. Simple.
Yeah. I think the other one was
simple as it is. Like
if you miss
2 stacks per hit now, reduce that to 1 and increase the amount of stacks you lose, like over time.
Yeah. And make the hard counter actually work as well, because there's a bug around that as well, isn't there, where it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't with the what's it sticky. It's gone out my head. Is it the EMP or is it the other one?
Yeah.
EMP,
Flash.
yeah.
EMP, yeah.
I would still kind of like them to change it so you have to stack into firearms, and then it just basically becomes like a glass cannon build, but then the return on investment for actually stacking into firearms is degraded as well, so you don't get like stupidly high firearms.
No, I disagree.
Oh well.
What else have we been doing this week? Are we going to admit to the failures, or are we just going to glaze over that?
Oh yeah,
well,
we did Falcon last several times.
How many times?
Several.
How many times?
I wasn't counting.
How many times did we successfully unlock the clown mask?
0.
A total of 0 on 0 accounts.
No,
I'm blaming anyone but me.
Can we make a collective decision that we blame the person that's not here to defend themselves?
Yeah.
Well,
we
he's calling me out for fucking dying. Yeah, we all fucking died.
I didn't.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, to be fair, we were streaming at the time, and a good friend of ours, Reaper, had bets on Rob Leroy Jenkins and dying first. And unfortunately,
the bomb taker as well, didn't die the whole night until we went to the underground. Just saying that. And the only reason I died, because Mike shot a barrel of explosive stuff.
I did not. You can go back and watch the stream as well.
Rob?
What?
Can I ask you who died when we tried doing it on Tuesday night instead?
Yeah, I died a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know why that happened. I was getting... I don't know, that was weird.
Sorry, dude. We'll get this
Yes.
finished, recorded, and we'll get it done.
You sound really sad right now, Rob.
I really want my mask.
I just want the commendation points, to be honest.
I don't care about that.
I'm not taking my Jason mask off. It's the best mask in the game.
Disagree.
But yeah, Underground was a bit of a wreck as well.
I got my 100 hunter kills this week as well.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Is that the
I've still...
stripy hunter's mask or the actual hunter's mask?
Yes, it is.
The stripy one. Cool.
Ooh. Yeah, I've still got to work on that. But yeah, work has been made on shields this week, which I'm pretty happy with. Commendation score's gone up, and I think I'm going to keep pushing to do that as well.
You can,
because I've actually enjoyed it, and I agree with Luke. Like, we did the Underground, Saturday?
Yeah.
And it was just good chucking on Spotify and just chatting with you and just literally just burning through.
I think the Underground's... what I did wrong with
faces.
the Underground when it came out on PlayStation was just hoard the shit out of it, trying to chase after everything all in one go. First of all, it was a lot harder back then. And second of all,
they changed it.
Like when it first came out, I think everybody was down there at different times of day and all different time zones and whatever. So I was down there a lot on my own. And it is quite boring content on your own. But if you just go down there and do a couple of phases a night as a group of 2 or 4 or whatever, it is, you know, it's good content. It's a nice, you can pace it yourself, just way of grinding out a few commendation points or a little bit of loot here and there. There's obviously with the hunters, there's a chance for exotics and classifieds to drop as well, isn't there? So
I think you and me discussed this, though. I was going to say, quick. The reason I think it probably is a little bit boring is just the aesthetic of it, which like sounds really bad. It looks really detailed, but it's a lot of the same.
yeah,
You know, it's meant to be randomly generated and stuff like that. But you know, how many times do you do different phases? Procedurally generated. But you still end up in like the same rooms pretty much every mission you load into, apart from like the first time me and Luke ran into the vault over the weekend, which was really
that
cool.
is a cool little map.
Yeah, and Rob was saying you hit the rave room, didn't you, the other week?
I've hit that twice, like in the last couple of weeks.
Nice,
man.
But the thing is, when they first brought it out, the XP for leveling in the Underground was a lot slower.
yeah.
It was a lot slower. Like, it took you forever. Like, it was exponential. Like, getting from rank 39 to rank 40 took a lot longer than the previous ranks.
I know you don't get a lot of XP per kill, but even the XP per kill used to go on your level 30 rather than your Underground XP bar, didn't it? If you remember way back in the original.
Yeah, true, yeah.
I know it's not a lot, but...
When I ranked up on PlayStation, I did it before they changed those rules. I actually got to rank 40 without being able to rank up quickly. Like, it was a massive grind.
Yeah,
like,
you played.
It was a huge grind.
You played the shit out of that. I remember on PlayStation. That's all. Like, pretty much every time I'd load in, Rob was down in the Underground. It's like, Jesus, he loves this thing, and I can understand. Like, now that's probably why.
But
you
like,
would be burnt out on it.
Yeah, no, but like, you used to be able to get to level 40 before. No, sorry, you used to get all your intel before you hit level 40. Now, you hit level 40 and you are still, like on PC, I'm still trying to, well, I actually finished it a couple of weeks ago, but I was still trying to find the intel for the outfits you get from the roadie outfits.
Voice recordings and the photos. Yeah.
Yeah, because you get that roadie outfits that are really fucking awesome.
That's been something I've actually really enjoyed doing over the past couple of weeks. Because I think I've hit about rank 29 especially over the last week as well.
That's quick.
You know, yeah, pretty damn quick.
That's what she said.
And I'm really enjoying like picking all the audio files and the images up. But yeah. It's been a busy week actually playing some Division because, you know, I know I took a bit of a break to play some other stuff, but I know you boys have been playing it.
Well, on and off. I think we've all hit Battlefield quite hard recently, haven't we? So.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good to take a little break and then jump back into it. I was really ready to play some Division as well this week. So
yeah, obviously with the GE going on as well. Unfortunately, I haven't got any bits that I need, but it's a good week to play because you're getting bonus credits and missions and things.
What are you chasing? It's a fun GE as well.
What
are you chasing?
What am I chasing at the minute? Basically anything to finish off a couple of sets. I think I've got a full Deadeye build. I've still got all the other sets really with like 1 or 2 pieces missing. But I haven't bothered chasing certain sets because there's no point. You know, I'm not going to be chasing after a Banshee set.
What build are you using then? Because you're not using Deadeye.
I'm just using Strikers.
Oh, so you've got a full Strikers
PvE.
Right.
Yeah, I've got 4 Strikers, but...
What are you going to do when they nerf the shit out of that shit?
I'll have to play the game even more.
Oh, no.
I just have to make sure you're with me. Make it more painful for you as well.
Thanks, dude.
That's okay, dude.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
Just saying.
Who's Karen? No? Not going to laugh at that. Okay. Fuck you guys.
I just thought I'd give you a breather there to get over it. Anyway, let's get down to discussion of the week.
What are we going to discuss, dude?
This topic of discussion comes from a question from Discord this week, which I actually thought was quite interesting. I passed it over to you guys, and you guys were like, cool, that sounds good. It actually comes from Felis.
I don't remember you saying that, but you keep going.
Binarius over on Discord. So thank you very much for sending in the question. The question in the first place was, should the Division 2 have a competitive play aspect at all that would require more time than just a dark zone, etc.? So I ask you guys, you know, we've discussed quite a bit of PvP and game modes that we like over the past couple of weeks, you know, something we'd want to see for the Division 2. I kind of want to ask you guys, do you guys even want a competitive based game mode for the Division 2, and how would you want it to work?
No.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes as well.
High five, Luke.
Why? Can I ask you why no then, Rob?
Because the Division has never been that way inclined.
Right. So I'm going to stop you right there. The Division as you know it yet has never been that way inclined. You already know they're going to change almost everything for Division 2.
No third-person shooter has been that way inclined. Okay.
PUBG, when it first launched, was third-person only.
Yeah, but
keep going.
There's still competitive game modes.
Yeah, but
it doesn't have to be an esport.
The competitive version of PUBG is no longer third-person.
Yeah, but surely there's... I mean, I'm not 100% on this. I don't really follow it that much, but surely something like Fortnite, which is, you know, number 1 in the Twitch category of viewed games, has competitive abilities around it.
There are... I don't know how competitive all the rules and everything are.
Tournaments in general.
Fortnite and what's the new one that is like Fortnite without the building? Is it Realm Royale or whatever it's called?
Realm Royale.
Yeah. They both are getting massive tournaments at the moment. I was watching Chappie and Ninja play Realm Royale for $100,000 the other day.
Tournaments, but not esports, right?
Well, yeah, but it's still competitive, isn't it? Of some of an ilk.
I was going to say, like, that... It's on the way to being esports, but it depends on the community, doesn't it? If there's a big enough backing for a game, then that's going to push it towards more of an esport.
So when you think competitive gaming then, Rob, do you instantly go esports and Rainbow Six style? Or do you...
I automatically think like pro teams.
Yeah, okay.
People that are like getting paid to play the game, like CSGO... League of Legends, that sort of style.
Right, okay. Yeah, I can understand
that. Is
esports.
That is definitely like the direction I took this question straight away. It was like, can you even make an esport out of the Division as we have it now with a few modifications, let alone something that's completely brand new? But just going back to like a competitive game mode, what would you want it to be? Like, would you just want skirmish? Would you want it to be like a PvE, like a PvE PvP mode, or have it be objective based? Because like you watch League of Legends and you watch like Overwatch, you know, most of the
But those games are designed to be PvP games, not an open world game with the PvP on side. Like the Division is a game is meant to be open world PvE, and then there's a little bit of PvP involved, and then like there's no. I mean, Division 1, there is skirmish and last stand, agreed, but they are nowhere near being close enough to be like guaranteed as like I don't know, like an esports category. That they're just add-ons to a game.
No, I 100% agree with that.
In that world, like you can't, unless they were going to bring out a Division that was specifically in PvP, then yeah, okay, esports. But it's not. Division 2 is not going to be an esports game, guaranteed.
No, I don't think it will be, but I would like to see a more competitive scene for it. But I think you say about, I'm not too sure about a few of the games. You know, stuff like Rainbow Six. You've got the ability to like pick different operators, change attachments and things like that. Overwatch, you select a character that you feel is going to work well against the opposing team. Obviously, that's not the case with the Division, because you create a build and then, you know, try and take that into a competitive match. That, for me, would still be interesting, but you'd have to have, like, balance there to start with. But you're saying about open worlds and then having that as, like, a competing, competitive game mode as well. But they tried to do it with, unfortunately, Destiny. Destiny has a competitive base mode on weekends. I'm not sure if it's still the case now, but Trials was a competitive base mode. If we brought something not similar to that, but you could use that as an ideal, couldn't you? The only difference is, I know it sucks, I'm using that as an example.
You mean you're using the game you hate the most as an example?
For competitive play. Because of the type of game it is. It's a looter shooter.
Differences. Destiny PvP is very much separated from the PvE. There is a very big line between the two. A massive line, in fact. Like,
is that a pun?
No, just like as in when it comes to Division, there isn't a line. When it comes to in the original game, I know we're talking about Division 2 right now, but when it comes to the original game, there is no line. They are one and the same. There's just a different modifier which determines your damage. That is it. Okay,
so theoretically speaking, if for the Division 2, they are able to balance brands, gear sets, weapons differently in PvE and PvP circumstances, could you see that working?
No.
Okay.
I just don't think they're going to do that.
I understand that, yeah. Luke, any thoughts, dude?
I do unfortunately agree with everything that Rob said.
Yes.
Your original question was, do I want competitive game mode for the Division 2?
I think that's something we all do.
I would never say no to something that I would want for a game. However, Rob does make some very valid points that it's probably not viable based on what we know of the Division and maybe what we've already seen for Division 2. However, you know, if they did go down the Destiny route and draw a nice thick line under the PvE to separate it from the PvP, the specializations could be the answer. If they are, and I know people from the Division community are probably not going to like this, but if they made specializations specifically for PvP that were not customizable very much, if at all, that could be the answer, because that would give you your Overwatch type characters, wouldn't it, and your Rainbow Six type operators. So maybe.
I think, like, as a jumper point, that's where it kind of goes off. Like, to have a competitive game mode, it has to be open not only for casual players, but it has to be open to like the hardcore community as well. And like it's having that balance of like having casual people playing a game and feel like they're able to win just as much as like a hardcore player. But there's such a huge gap at the same time, especially with the Division. Like the Division, the way the servers work and matchmaking, it like even at the minute it wouldn't work. Whether that changes for the future, I mean, we've got dedicated servers, something that a lot of people want for some of the other games that want to compete in competitive games and become esports in the future. But there's no good having dedicated servers if we're playing people over the other side of the world, is there, with a stupid amount of ping.
Yeah, true.
That's going to completely throw it off. And if it does end up being a game that anybody can pick up, I'm not trying to make it sound nasty, but if they're making it easier to read build-wise and setting up your build so more casual players can pick it up straight away, much like Fortnite, much like Overwatch, then are we killing builds, the complexity of the builds in general?
That's why I said the competitive side of it would have to be completely separate. So you'd almost have to have like 3 elements to the game. So you'd have your PvE modes, you'd have your PvP modes, and then you'd have your competitive modes. Because I agree with what Rob says. You can't have all that customization.
Casual and ranked.
Yeah, you just can't have it for competitive gaming because there's that many build options in Division 1. We've already seen it in the Dark Zone and Last Stand and Skirmish. It's almost impossible for them to keep a track on what's balanced and what isn't. So if you're going to put a competitive spin on all of that, it just wouldn't work. You'd get people that were, using whatever they could to their advantage all the time. So
yeah, I definitely agree with regards to the balance. And, they've said that it's the one thing they're working on, that it's going to be a lot better than the current game we have. The TTK of like NPCs, I think, to be honest, TTK of players as well is going to be a lot different than the current game that we have now. Obviously, the way health works and skills and things like that are going to be completely different to what we currently have. And it's trying to think about it in a different way, but then throwing it in to a competitive scene. It doesn't even have to be a competitive scene. It just needs to be a competitive game mode. So, like, what game mode? If you could choose one game mode to throw into this for competitive play, what would you choose? I'll go over to you, Rob.
No, I'm just about to say you can't. Before I even answer that question, that I'm going to forget, by the way.
No worries.
You can't have a game that is built on build diversity and then chuck a competitive game PvP mode in there. They're just not compatible because the balancing is just not possible. Like, you can't have infinite amount of possibilities and then balance it. Like, from what we've seen from the demo, there is literally hundred. I mean, they've taken away mods and stuff from the balancing, but there's still infinite amount of possibilities that can be done with each build. Because
plus
of specializations. There's specializations we don't even know about yet. Guaranteed there's more than. Well, we know there's more than 3, but I guarantee there's more than 4. And it would be impossible to do. Like, even just logically, to think about it, like, you just can't do it.
I think the only way you could do it is if you had a dedicated mode for it. And I agree with what Luke said. Specializations would have to be your key thing. You'd have to have set weapons, set loadouts, and things like that.
They would have to strip the certain elements of the game away. That's the only way they would better do it. You'd have to have set operators like Siege. That is the only way in my head that I can think of a balanced way of being able to balance PvP in that game.
Yeah, that's why I said what I said about the specializations. If you kept them in the base game, so you could tweak them as much as they want you to be able to tweak them as they've showed them in the trailers already, and then literally port those exact same specializations into a competitive PvP mode that was on separate servers that you had to almost select into, like what Rob was saying with Siege, where you go from casual play to ranked play. And then literally all you can change is maybe a few little tweaks to maybe the grenades you can use, or little stuff that might make a slight difference.
Or something like that.
Makes a little difference, but not...
Ergo Siege.
Yeah.
Like, what if you take Breach or Flashbang?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that could work. I think you could balance it for a competitive nature. And, like Rob was saying anyway, you could evolve it through the addition of more specializations, which effectively would be no different than additional operators in Siege, or additional characters.
If they do go that route, then
I think that'd be quite interesting. And the thing is, this isn't the first time we've brought something like this up before, is it? We've discussed having a PvP mode that is based around like an operate, like trying to balance PvP a little bit better than just having the auto nature that we've got of like just buffing people's stats. So it's all kind of the same. Especially when people all kind of... The thing is, people, if you're going to go into Last Stand, I expect most people running the same builds anyway, so it wouldn't be such a bad thing, would it?
Did you know there was two Siege developers that were taken off Siege this week?
No, I didn't.
They were taken off and put on another Ubisoft's title.
That's interesting, because... we need a meta change on another game, don't we?
That is really interesting, actually. That's made me sit up and pay attention again.
Unknown title, though. No one knows what they've been put onto, but they have definitely been moved from Siege.
That's not a bad thing, though. I mean, you have... It would be really cool if the Division did take some cues from the Siege community and PvP itself. The thing is, I know, like... PvP in the Division is completely different, a different ball game to Siege, because we have skills and because of the build complexity and things like that. But I don't really want to strip it down. I don't want to take skills off people. As interesting as it would be to have that game mode, if it's gonna kill the idea of the game or like the whole point, I don't really want to take that away from people. Because I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter this week, there was a very brief conversation between Sherpa and Thylander, and they were basically saying, would you welcome a PvP mode in the Division where no skills, no set bonuses or talents were active, just simply weapons, medkits, and just allow gunplay and tactics to shine? I like the idea of letting gunplay and tactics to shine, but then it's just a normal game at the end of the day, isn't it? It maybe if they did that once in a while, but I wouldn't want it as a permanent game mode, and I definitely wouldn't want it as a competitive nature.
You think as if they were going to make it competitive, it would have to be balanced, which means no randomness. Like, you couldn't go into a competitive scene with a build that you made last week that was OP compared to the week before. You just can't.
No, I agree. Yeah, which is why you would probably have to have set specializations, wouldn't you? But the other thing with set specializations is you would have to have the ability to balance the meta between the specializations, especially on the fly. And the other thing is, if you change something in normal PvP, would that affect the PvP in competitive mode? Like, can you differentiate that?
Swings and roundabouts, dude. We don't even know. Dude. We're just speculating at this point.
That's what makes it fun, though, I think, that we don't know. Like, as much information as they gave us from E3, there was not many, like, concrete, definitive answers to anything, were there? So, excuse me.
I mean, things we know, right? Cover seems to be more of a thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay, stop right there, because you've already said seems to be. So you don't definitely know it.
It is. Sorry, it is. Well, it is. I mean...
TTK is definitely...
TTK is different. Cover is used a lot more in this game, right? And from what we know, the chicken meta is gone.
No, you don't know that.
You know?
You can't say that yet.
We don't know
you can't say that yet.
You can.
You can't. You haven't.
Well, we
you
hope.
haven't seen,
We
yeah,
hope.
but that's not a definitive answer, then, is it? If you're hoping for it, because they haven't showed anything
you
for
definitely
PvP
can.
yet.
The CGK is so much lower that there's no such thing as.
Well, it's not just that. The actual movement of the characters, if you look at the movement of the characters, it's a lot slower.
I agree.
So
the
therefore,
movement is
it's
slower,
like they're
and
trying to prevent
I agree
it.
the movement is slower, and I agree cover seems to be a lot more useful.
The TGK is a lot lower as well.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
you can't really chicken dance with. I mean, you can stop and put a shield on, and you'd be dead.
Well, that alone. I mean, we haven't seen any. We think there's healing skills in this game, right? You have to replace armor. It looks like you earn upgrades throughout the game as well. But even that in itself, how long does it take to replace armor in just like the open PvE? Yeah, you have to stop, pull out of the game, get into cover, and replace your armor. Otherwise, you're screwed. Yeah, if you look at the people playing this game, I've seen like Skillet player, I've seen a couple other people play it, and they died because they were just trying to run in. That is not going to be the PvE nature that we're going to have. And going off what Rob said, if they're not going to split the nature between PvE and PvP, then it's both they're going to be both very, very similar circumstances, aren't they? I can't imagine it being the same. Anyway, going back to the question that I did ask Rob that he's probably forgotten.
I did say I would forget.
What if you could have a competitive base mode? What would you have? Gameplay. Would you want it to be objective based, team deathmatch? Do you want it PvE, PvP?
Well, competitive is always objective, so yeah, objective based. Like with balanced teams, maybe like 4v4, 5v5, have to take a thing with the thing, and then shoot the thing with the thing. Lots of things.
Luke, what about domination?
That's kind of the game mode I was going for, to be honest. Like a domination, capture the flag type thing, because Overwatch do... you have to move the objective along, don't you, on one of their game modes.
Yeah, you have to push
so
the
that's
payload.
Kind of a domination of a sort. And then Rainbow Six do the one where you have to be in the room that's not... I can't remember what it's called. It's been that long since I played Siege.
The bomb?
Yeah, but you don't... Isn't there one where you just have to be in the room? You don't necessarily have to plant the diffuser. I can't remember what the game modes are for Siege. It's completely gone out of my head.
Rob, can you help?
No.
Okay.
I don't play that game mode, so I don't know what it's called. I only play Bomb.
You don't play bomb.
But yeah, objective based for definite, like domination. I think something like a deathmatch would get boring very, very quickly. I think the only reason that quote unquote deathmatches, as we know them now as battle royales, are doing so well is you are literally the last one standing, whereas a deathmatch is just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, isn't it? So
you don't think they will try and do a BR in TD2 then? You don't think they were like ahead of the game and thought, oh, we'll put a BR in?
No, I don't. I think what they're doing is they're probably going to make a separate game that is BR. Didn't they say something about that, actually? I can't remember.
Yeah, there was some news a couple of months ago about the team at Massive basically coming up with a BR mode that I think would be free to play.
Can I just ask Rob why he's currently got his fingers crossed?
I hope they don't do a BR mode.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think BR modes are kind of...
This, ladies and gentlemen, coming from the podcast that started a petition for a Battle Royale mode in Division 1.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm sorry. No, because I kind of think
before
about it.
the BR mode was saturated to fuck, right?
Yeah. And before you kind of take a step back and be like...
There was 2 BRs back then.
I think the only thing now that I would like different about survival is just one extraction. That's all I would want. Just one team's allowed to extract. That is it. That's the only thing I would change about survival.
Baby.
I don't know if you boys agree with that, but I just want either solo servers or group servers and have a timer on it. I
But
think
then
that
you
would
would get
change it
some cunt
completely.
that would extract within 10 minutes and you get kicked out of the server.
That's
all right.
the
You just
game to
boot
play.
back in
though.
again after 10 minutes. How? I can't really ask you this, Rob, because you die in survival after 10 minutes anyway. But to me, the most infuriating thing about survival is if you die after like 45 minutes and then you come out and you've got nothing for 45 minutes worth of gameplay. But, you know, if you were loading in specifically to survival hardcore, which was 24 players on a server, one gets out, the rest of you die, you'd know what you're signing up for from the get-go, don't you?
I think they need more players on the server as well.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. On any server, Dark Zone server, survival server, new game modes for Division 2 that we are unyet known. I'd love more players in servers.
Yeah, which I think we'll probably see in the Division 2 because, you know, judging by the beta signups at the minute, it's bigger. It's tracking to be bigger than the first game, but it depends how the beta plays out, doesn't it? At the end of the day,
there's obviously a lot of people interested in this game. So if the beta is enjoyable for the vast majority of these people, this game is on track to be an absolute commercial smash hit, isn't it? So there's no reason why they can't speculate with some of that money that they're due to accumulate and get a fuck ton of better servers ready for the game to launch. But we'll see. Making games cannot be cheap, can it? So, you know.
No. That's why they've got deadlines. And the thing is, we don't even know if we're going to get PvP when the Division launches. I'm guessing we're going to have the Dark Zone, but we might be in the same situation as the Division 1 where we don't see a PvP mode till 6 months down the road, 7 months down the road. I hope that's not the case. I would like some game modes to be in there.
No, I kind of hope that is the case.
What?
Because then it would have some time to like consider it and think, well, we're not just going to chuck a fucking game mode at us.
True. I do hope. Well, I think they're going to do that anyway, but I think PvP will be entirely different, and I think the game modes that we have might transfer, but I think we won't see them as we see them now, will we?
Shit, you mean?
What?
Jesus.
The thing is, I like Last Stand.
Sorry, I'm being really blunt.
I don't so much like the PvE aspect of it.
So I never really got into Last Stand that much on PlayStation when it first came out, and I've not really got into it on PC now that we've ported over. I really enjoyed Skirmish on PlayStation 4, and at the moment on PC it's just Striker Shotgun, so I won't play it. But if they're going to quote-unquote fix Strikers, Skirmish would be my go-to PvP content. That's not the Dark Zone.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting once they change Striker to see which way the meta goes.
Unfortunately, I think it's just going to bounce straight back to Predator. Yeah, Predators. But we'll see.
Average,
Maybe. Just going back to competitive modes for the Division 2, Edel and Fox did actually say private matches with custom rules could actually help the Division 2 go into competitive play. Now, competitive play is actually based around community, and if you have private matches with custom rules in there when PvP like this is introduced, the community builds stuff for you.
This is where Siege comes into its own, because there are separate rules for custom matches and pro games than there is in ranked. Like, there's like definitely now there's like a banning system for an each team bans two operators, one defender, one attacker. So if that sort of thing came into the Division, yeah, that would be good. Like, imagine banning specializations.
Or just stopping people running the same specialization. You literally have to pick one of four.
And you get to pick each map. Like, you get to pick a map as well. Like, you get to ban maps.
But that's what we wanted in the Dark Zone for ages, wasn't it? The fact that you could only run one build of each type or one set of skills of each type within your team. But
The thing is, it's difficult because like you're in this game where it's promoting diversity of builds, build it to the way you want, and then it's kind of, I don't know how you guys feel.
Anti-intuitive to then ban them.
Yeah, it's to suggest to do that.
But, if you did make it so that you could only have one of each build in a team, does that not help promote build diversity? Because if us four were playing together, so you've got us three and let's say Boris, because we played with him a lot this week. 2 of the 4 of us were playing Striker in Falcon Lost. You were running a shield build, Rob, and Boris was the Reclaimer. So one of me or Mike would have to use our build diversity to make another build because we can't both run Strikers. Therefore, promoting build diversity even more.
But neither of you had a different build.
I do.
Which is why
I do. I could have ran a
viable build.
I could have.
Whilst we were
could have run my tank build. Definitely could have run 5-piece sentry. It's not perfect, but 5-piece sentry is still better than no sentry.
But going back to PvP, I think that is a great idea. That, we had a situation in the Dark Zone where we had 4 people running Nomad.
Yeah.
At one point. Why? That shouldn't be the case. And I know that's not the case now, but it just doesn't make any sense.
We know from the demo that there's brands as well as builds, and there's just infinite possibilities to each build because of what they've done with the designs to that, which is what they're building upon, because the Division works like that, because that's what makes it good. Like the discussion between each build, my build's got this, and my build's got that. It's a strong basis on a game. Why would you take that away?
I don't necessarily think it's taking it away, though, is it? If you were to limit,
you would have. Yeah, but the thing is, you would have to make balanced PvP. You would have to take that build diversity. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry. I thought
Well, maybe not take it away, but strip it back at least.
Yeah, no, sorry. I still thought you were talking about the limiting what you could run in a team. Sorry, I missed you were talking about PvP again. My mistake.
But then I think it kind of goes back to the game itself, doesn't it? If the game requires you to run all 3 or 4 different specializations or 4 different builds entirely, whether you're building that way or not, then you're going to have build diversity. If the game's pushing you into just building, 4 of the same set so you can get through the content, then there's your problem.
I just don't think it's going to be geared towards competitive play.
I just don't
think they're going to do it.
No, it was just a theoretical idea. But I will say that if private matches, we've said it before, we wanted it in the current game that we have now. I'd like to see it in the future, because we've got friends that we'd love to jump into a match. I said this last week. Kill and have fun with.
We've got friends we want to kill.
We'd love to kill, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck it! I want to kill these
guys
two
over at Yeah, we got the guys over at Locked On going, "Hey, we'll challenge you at Rainbow Six or whatever." It's like, we can do it in Rainbow Six. Let's get it in the fucking Division,
Yeah, the problem we've got with playing those fucking upside down bastards is server issues.
Oh yeah, they'll have that sweet lag and be like, "Oh look, I killed you."
We can abuse the ping. It's fine.
You can lag switch, Rob.
Just run everywhere and shoot real fast when you're running.
Just while we're talking about people upside down, did you guys see that
No.
Damn, his name's gone completely out of my head. The Ubisoft guy who does the Star Players. AJ.
Oh, lovely
Irish Alan. He was asking people to nominate Australians and Russians the other day. So I kindly put forward the 4 upside down cunts that we know.
Good lad, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
They can't speak Welsh, though.
Follow the Irish dude.
Spreading the love to the they're South African, aren't they? I think.
I don't know, Rob.
No,
I'll field you that one.
They're Australian.
This talking of Reaper. Apparently, they do an absolutely terrible Welsh accent. So, Rob, any hints for doing a better Welsh accent?
Roll your R's and more wine.
Dot your T's.
No, don't dot your T's. Why would you dot your T's? That doesn't make sense. Dot your T's and cross your I's.
If Reaper's listening, for next week's show, can you tell us which was worse? Rob's Australian/South African accent or their Welsh?
It was Australian, dude. I wasn't trying to be South African. I was doing a bad Australian accent.
I know what you were trying to be. I'm just telling you what the feedback of your accent was.
Good day, mate.
Put the feedback in Discord. We'll pick that up. But yeah, I guess the general consensus is we want competitive game mode. We can't see it. I don't think it'd ever become an esport, but I do think the community we have would push competitive play a lot more if we had
I think competitive
private matches.
I think competitive could come to the game, but not at launch.
No.
I think they would have to release all their content and then do it as an afterthought. But then it wouldn't be as good. No one would play it because it's not a designed game for esports.
Yeah, it's a very difficult.
It's a thin line to walk.
But to be honest, if they do go that route, I would be very interested. Luke, any final thoughts from you?
No, literally just what you said. I'd like it to be part of the game. I'd really reiterate what I've said before, that I'm really glad I'm not trying to design this game because, with all the ideas that people keep coming up with, God knows how the guys that are making it come to any decision on what ideas they are going to put in the game and aren't going to put in the game. It must be an absolute minefield when you do all the whiteboard diagrams and stuff they do where they're doing thought chains and all that sort of stuff, that what they can put in the game and what they can't, it must take forever. But I'd love something competitive to be in the game. I would settle for private servers where we can just make our own matches, to be honest.
100%. Just give the community private matches and we'll take it from there.
One thing I will say is with competitiveness comes skill gap.
Not a bad thing.
So, yeah. It depends which way they want to go, casual, player-based, or competitive. Like, you're gonna piss people off.
I think you're going to do that anyway. A lot of games have that issue. I'm not going to say that game, but that had an issue.
Game? What are you talking about?
I'm not saying it.
What game? What are you talking about?
But other games do have that issue, and they survive, without having. I'm not saying people should be locked out of competitive game modes because they're casual.
What are you talking about?
You should still have the ability to play, but that's down to how the game plays out.
What are you talking about?
Have you finished Captain Drunkass?
What are you talking about?
Good. Right. Let's get down to some questions.
What are you talking about?
Boys, we had some feedback for last week's episode discussing whether the season pass was still worth it. Coming from Mitch121135. Luke, I believe you answered this fella on Twitter.
I did, and I honestly can't remember what I said. It was like 2 hours ago. That's really bad. But Mitch originally said he thinks the season pass is a must-buy for survival. It may also be the only way to get all the shields unless a free week of survival is coming up with the next shield. I know I definitely said I 100% believe a free week will come for survival. It makes perfect sense that they would do that because they did it for Underground.
But if it's 15 quid, fucking do it.
Yeah. Like we said at the start of the show, if Humble Bundle is selling the base game and the season pass for 15 quid, I would be rooting around the back of your sofa to try and find a few quid, because that is an absolute fucking steal.
Steal, dude. Steal.
You can tell it's a freaking steal when you keep seeing new people on Reddit going, this game is fucking awesome. And we're like 2.5 years in.
Can you imagine buying this game with all that content right now? Like, if you'd never played it before, what the fuck would you do first?
It makes you kind of think, what the fuck did we do for like the first
Get somewhere to carry it to level 30.
Well, all right. What would you do second then?
Underground.
There's always some smart comment.
No, don't. No.
Why this idiot decides what he would and wouldn't do. Can I just say thank you, Mitch, for the feedback? Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you.
I was going to say as well, Luke, you didn't get a chance to answer that question on last week's podcast, did you? Because you had to disappear, unfortunately, for a bit of an emergency.
What question was that?
with regards to whether Season Pass was worth.
Oh, yeah, that's what we were talking about when the dog decided to have a hissy fit. Yeah, 100%. I now own the Season Pass twice, so yeah.
And when you get it on Xbox, will you be purchasing the Season Pass?
I would have to buy an Xbox first, so no.
If someone were to buy you an Xbox, would you buy this Division on the Xbox?
No, I would spend every last ounce of energy I have persuading them not to buy me an Xbox.
If someone was to give you Wildlands, would you play Wildlands?
Fuck no.
What if someone was to buy you a microphone that came with a free copy of Wildlands?
I would put the copy of Wildlands on eBay / give it to anybody walking down my road.
Even if it says not for resale.
Well, that would not stop me. Dude, we've got too many games to play as it is. We haven't played Siege for weeks.
I know.
Out of touch with PUBG. I've just bought Islands of 9.
We just got an update for Battlefield 1.
There's the Division. There's Division 2 coming in March.
We need to do like a 90 per game, don't we? We need to set like a schedule.
Well, you two just
definitely a schedule.
You two point blank refuse to play PUBG anymore.
I'll play PUBG with you, dude.
Mike doesn't own 9
just
yet.
give me a night. I'll play Ion.
It's just gonna be another game that I'm gonna fucking play.
I will play Ion. That's a given. I only bought it because you said you played duos.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go wreck shit.
I bought a copy of it for Boris as well, so he's on board.
Oh, squads.
Mike, you need to get it. Get it.
Cheers, boys.
You won't buy it.
Where's my copy?
If you're going to play it, I will buy it for you.
Don't.
Exactly. See, you won't play it, will you?
To be honest, I haven't even seen footage from the game.
I will go twos on that. I will share that price. It's £10 each.
Not even.
Oh yeah, well, roughly.
It's fine, but next game you can't bitch at me about picking up.
The amount of games that you've made us buy.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Hold a minute. I want you boys to get Ghost Recon.
Luke, why don't you buy
Soldier?
Andromeda? It's a really good game.
Oh, rip.
Fuck off, dude. Fuck off.
Man's got a point, Mike.
Rob, you can fucking back me up on that.
No, I was going to buy it anyway, but the fact that we persuaded him... I did buy it.
You fucking idiot. You did buy it.
I persuaded him to buy it as well.
We were both like, you should buy Andromeda because Mass Effect Trilogy is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, dude, you should play the Bioshock Trilogy. And now it's like, nah, fuck that because Andromeda sucks balls. And I'm like...
If you want to play the Bioshock
just play
Trilogy,
Infinite.
you can log into my Steam account and play
I don't want to play the Bioshock Trilogy. Mike just won't stop going on about it.
It's fucking good. It's fucking good. I'll get Rem from fucking Bombshell Jackets to just barrage you with comments of how you should play that game.
And he'll just tell us how to play Diablo.
True.
Which we should. That's the next game.
We've massively gone off track, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, talk about other games. Me and Rob were talking about a game before the podcast, weren't we, Rob?
Were we?
Starts with a W. Fuck me, you must be drunk at this point.
If it ends,
I can think is Willie's.
If it ends in the word frame, I'm going to end this podcast right now and never talk to you two again.
No. It's got a 3-letter acronym. Fucking Rob's
World
face
of Warcraft.
Right
You
oh wow, yeah,
pair of cunts.
Shit. Oh yeah, WoW Classic.
That
anyway,
is
back on track.
That is a painful
No,
black hole.
None of us can play that. We will just lose our lives.
You would. You're fucking terrible for that sort of shit.
I would just, yeah.
You give Rob a grindy game.
I've already been warned not to play that game, otherwise I would just probably...
Yeah, you would just disappear. You were bad enough when we went playing freaking Star Wars The Old Republic.
Yeah, I max ranked that shit. I had a kid to look after.
Next question comes from Chuck Cunningham. Thank you very much, dude. He asks, what would need to happen...
AKA the legend?
AKA the legend, that is. What would need to happen to convince Mike and Rob to buy Division 2 on the consoles?
Someone would have to buy it for me.
I don't think anything will need to happen, Chuck. I think they're both going to buy it on console because they made me buy Mass Effect Andromeda. I think that's my get out of jail free card, that they have to buy Division 2 on console.
Not a chance, dude.
I'm
What a
gonna
fucking
say,
chance.
I'm gonna say,
But then,
give it 2 years. When we've run out of content to do on PC, we'll switch back.
Fucking hell yeah, dude.
You know that's gonna happen.
Nostalgia. We'll go back to it on PlayStation. Oh man, look at these controllers. They're so
Yeah, I was gonna say, remember when we used to use controllers?
Oh, no way, dude.
fine. I'll go and have fun with all our PS4 friends on my own then. Fuck you too.
Yeah, you will, dude.
No, we're going to get an Xbox. Fuck Luke off.
That would not fuck me
So
off.
you have
That
to
made
buy
me
again
laugh.
too.
No, I don't know, to be honest, dude. I haven't even switched on my PlayStation in...
Although I would love to,
month?
play with Chuck. That's not in a dirty way. I would just
Maybe.
love to play The Division with Chuck. That would be my only reason to buy it.
There you go. Chuck.
that's a pretty good
There you
damn
go.
reason.
You need to pull on his heartstrings a bit with that then.
I'm going to say now, what would need to happen? Start a petition.
Yeah, because
Go-
we know how
go
well they
find me.
work.
Oh, yeah. Because James Gunn's going to get reinstated as the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
No, he's not, dude.
No, I know.
Lawsuits have been done, dude.
Yep.
Monies have been paid. He's gone.
Bye-bye.
Moving on, Born Diesel actually gave us some feedback for last week's episode as well. His thoughts.
He said I was drunk.
I don't think he.
No,
I don't,
somebody else
I don't think he
did.
mentioned your drunkenness. Actually, he's too polite for calling you
me
out.
up on my slurring.
If you do want to call Rob up on his slurring, you can leave feedback.
Fedback.
Next week's feedback.
Yeah, and we will ignore it, and I will just say,
That sounds like another podcast I've listened to today. We'll talk about that in a minute. Go
So
on.
Born Diesel says that he thinks the Underground is fun to test builds on whilst it's streaming because it's mindless. That's kind of what we said at the start of this podcast, Mike. Apparently, matchmaking for the Xbox in North America isn't too bad. Survival tends to be between 5 and 10 people. He doesn't queue for last stand or skirmish apparently. And going on the competitive gameplay chatter, a skirmish-like mode in Division 2 with private servers, private matches would be huge. Letting us do tournaments and so on would be amazing. An organic competitive scene would do really well. Thanks, Born Diesel. Appreciate you.
I really want private games.
I do agree with that last bit. An organic competitive scene would do really well. Yeah, because you look what the community's doing at the minute with survival. They're doing like $5 entry. You all team up and you go run survival together, and there's like a winner or something like that. And
Yeah, you win money.
do you win money? I didn't read it properly. That's my fault. But I just like people are doing that anyway, and we don't have the tools to do it. Give us the tools, and the community will do it. That's it. Bron Jones, thank you very much for your comment on YouTube, dude. He says Captain Alki is back on the booze this week. Well, guess what, dude? He's back again. I was waiting for Rob to say something, but it was just like, nope. He's just looking quite stern-faced now. Blinking
He's waiting a
softly.
comment from me.
I'm
I'm not replying.
I was just about to tell you that people can't see you staring at them, right?
I know. I'm just not replying to that.
As I say, I haven't got your video up at the minute, so I can't even see you staring at me.
You laughed at that, though. I made a face. You laughed.
Yeah, I did. I think that's it. Last thing I probably want to throw out there, if you guys haven't seen these three chaps, they've started a Division podcast
I believe it's
together.
4 chaps, Mike.
4 chaps?
Yeah, it's 4.
That was 3.
The joke was about 3. I believe 2 of them are English.
All right,
And
okay.
you fill in the gap.
Okay, my bad. Just give him an honorary mention. If you haven't checked him out, check out the Division Central podcast, starring an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman.
And
check out the
another
first
Englishman.
episode, and another Englishman. They seem like a decent bunch of cunts, so definitely go check them out.
You can find them over at Div Central Pod on Twitter.
Yeah, I just gonna say it takes me back, that episode. Listening to that episode takes me back to like when we first started. So Good luck, boys. Yeah, they were pretty damn funny.
Yeah, they were.
Especially the bit about John Travolta, and then something about John and Tom asking to be guests on the podcast. And something Rob would do is just
if you're a fan of this podcast, you'll be a fan of that podcast. Let's put it that way. They have a similar sense of humour.
Yeah. You seem like a good bunch of blokes.
They'd like to talk about drinking as well, so that must be...
I can feel
that's a recipe for success right there.
I tell you what, the chances of that actually happening is more than us going to frickin' Japan or something like that, having a meetup with those people.
Yeah, I'm looking at Luke's face right now and I'm agreeing.
Who's in Japan? Does a podcast, dude? What the fuck?
Well, there could be a Japanese
there could be, but we don't know about it.
Because it'd be in Japanese.
Why did you say Japan? Did you not just say Australia, you fucking idiot?
Oh dear.
Oh wow.
I'm just gonna end the show before somebody starts doing an accent and we get fucking banned.
Someone send me The Division in Japanese. Like what does The Division mean in Japanese? Because I will say it next week.
Oh no, don't. Nobody
Please
answer
slur.
that, please.
In a slur to Mike.
I'm going to ask Jared to just mute your fucking audio for the track. Anyway, let's go, boys. Thank you everyone who sent in a freaking question this week. It's a sweat box in here right now. Apologies. Robert.
Hello.
Is it me you're looking for?
No. You can find us over at SITREP Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Please send us any questions or feedback over to the email address, which is sitradio@gmail.com. Or via... We've changed this.
Yeah, dude.
Fucked me up. I'm not reading that shit. Go on via the socials. Please leave a like and subscribe and all that shit. Luke?
As always, you can find this podcast over at iTunes, Apple Podcasts for iOS, Podbean, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and you can find links to all of these platforms and more over at mashthosebuttons.com. If you'd be so kind as to leave a rating or review on the podcast app of your choice, it really helps people find the show and we enjoy reading them, to be fair. Mike?
Also, if you stay to the end of the show, you can find out what other shows are available on the Mash Those Buttons network and where you can find them. Also, there might be a little bit of an Easter egg from this episode, any point that's probably been edited out and put on the end, as Rob keeps finding out when he puts the video up on YouTube. It's like, I don't remember that bit being at the end of the podcast. We do a live stream as often as we can, so if you're interested in dropping by and chatting with us whilst we play some Division and other games, you can find us all over at twitch.tv/SITREP Radio. We have been SITREP Radio. Thank you very much for listening, agents, and we will catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Konnichiwa.
Thank you for choosing a Mash Those Buttons podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to subscribe to one of our shows, you can find us on multiple podcast platforms across iOS and Android. Just search for the show on a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts and hit subscribe. If you can't find us on your favorite podcast platform of choice, just go right to the mashthosebuttons.com website, grab the RSS feed, and put it into your podcatcher of choice. If you want to check out some other podcasts you may enjoy, you should check out mashthosebuttons.com/shows. For World of Warcraft fans, we have two podcasts, WoW Talk, which is our news and community podcast, and The Torn and the Goblin, which is our lore and story podcast. If you enjoy Overwatch, make sure to check out Watchpoint Radio to keep up with the latest on Overwatch and its community. If you enjoy fighting games, make sure you check out Double Tap for the latest in the FGC. If you're a fan of The Division or looking forward to The Division 2, make sure you check out SITREP Radio. If you want to keep up with the latest at Mash Those Buttons, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/mtbsite, facebook.com/mashthosebuttons, and youtube.com/mashthosebuttons. We'd also like to have you join our Discord community. So just go to discord.me/mashthosebuttons and join us for a chat. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secured. Extraction complete.